The first date is very important, and I'm going to give you the 3 worst first date places to go. And if you want success in your relationship, you need to watch this entire video till the end. I'm going to give you those 3 worst date places in order and give you where you need to go instead. I'm also going to be backing this up with some research that's really mind-blowing, so subtle. Yet, if you use this research to your advantage, you are going to have a great advantage from making a great first date with someone you are meeting for the first time from online, or even just a first date with someone you've met organically. So who am I to talk about this? I'm Coach Paula Grooms, a dating and relationship coach, licensed social worker, and author of the book, Why Won't He Commit? How a Man Decides to Make You the One. I help women get what they desire and deserve in their relationships, meaning commitment, get back with an ex and get commitment from online dating with a man that you want after you have met him, because that first meeting is so important. I call it a first meeting because while it's not a typical date, you want to have the right setting and environment. The importance of place cannot be negated. And I'm going to give you the number 1 place not to go on a first meeting, especially from online dating. And what I mean when I say especially is because if you've met someone organically, meaning you've met him out and there's been some kind of interaction, typically he's not going to ask you to go for coffee. One of the worst first meetings you can have is for coffee. I'm going to give you this first under the context of coffee being something you do with a friend when you're catching up with a friend, or a colleague, sometimes even not a colleague, but someone that you're interacting with in a business sense. It is not good at all to set you up for possible success. I'm going to give you a study from Yale University. It's really wonderful. I got this from Tony Robbins in listening to him. And it typifies the power of prompting and of place. And these are 2 concepts that you want to be thinking about, especially in online dating, because that person has no context about you. He's not been with you in a normative sense. He's not gotten your pheromones, the essence of you. All he sees is a picture, and this does not set you up for great success. And why I have a second step in my One Love Online to Never Ending Love, 7 Simple Steps to Digital Dating Success self-help course, because if you don't do that second step, you're really hurting yourself in that first meeting, as well as not going to the appropriate place. But that's an aside. I want to stick today with the power of place here and the 3 worst places you can go that first meeting. Number 1, we just discussed coffee. It is not titillating to the man. It's not sexy. You don't feel sexy. Typically, you wouldn't wear necessarily the same kind of clothes that you would wear on a date. And while I call it a first meeting, I want you to be thinking about it a la the man considering it a date, and why this is so important and the distinction is important. Because men date for one reason, and we know this from an extremely large study. Thousands of men answered this. There is one reason why men date, and the number 1 reason that they all said was for the possibility of short-term sexual encounters. We don't want to impugn men for this. That's men being male. We want them to be male. We're female and we like them to be very male. But We have to temper their maleness in order to guide them to what is going to give both of us the best relationship and possibility for long-term happiness and fulfillment. And that's for the man to fall in love. For us, of course, to love that man as well and really be connected, him bonded. This is what works best. And knowing that men date for that reason, we have to capitalize on it as women and know that if you agree to coffee or you set it up to have coffee, you are thwarting his natural need and desire. I'm not saying that you give him that short-term sexual encounter, especially not in the first meeting. That's not going to set you up for success. Yes, it happens. But typically, and we want to go with statistically what works best, and the odds for you is that you guide him to have a great encounter with you that is somewhat flirty, fun, titillating, and use the power of place for that first date to set you up for success. So, coffee does not do it. Doesn't set either of you up to really feel anything that you want a little stirrings of those feelings to be there for that man to then want to take it to the next step. Coffee is a no-no. It's out. I have another video on that, more on it, but just know that's the number one place. No, we don't go. So hold on, we're going to get to number 2 and number 3, which is going to be pretty mind-blowing for you because you would probably say, well, that does set you up for success, but it doesn't in a first meeting from online dating. Now, let's get to that research I told you about before we get to number 2 and number 3. This is about prompting and how important it is and how subtle it is. Researchers got actors to be in a mall and they found their subjects, and what they initially did was the actor would go up to the subject and simply say, "Excuse me, would you hold my coffee for me while I tie my shoe?" And the person would either take it or they wouldn't, and this was helping them find the subjects for the future of the study. So the person would hold the coffee, the actor would tie their shoe, and that would be that. Then they follow, and a little while later, they go up to the same person now, not that actor, another one, goes up to the person and says, "Excuse me, we're doing a research study. Would you mind reading this very short story for 2 moments and then me asking you questions, and we will give you $20 for your time?" And the subject did it. Here's what is mind-blowing about it. The story was the same, and the subjects had to answer whether or not they found the main character in the story to be likable, friendly, and positive characteristics associated with that character, or negative characteristics, whether they were grumpy, unpleasant, not friendly, etc. So either a likable character, unlikable. Here is the fascinating thing about prompting. 80% of the time, if the character was deemed likable, the subject had been given a warm cup of coffee to hold while the actor tied their shoes. 80% of the time, negative characteristics were attributed to the main character in that story when the subject was given a cold cup of coffee. 80% of the time, likable, unlikable. Prompting is very important, meaning how you set up the interactions and guide the man, because you may not really have any feeling about a guy from online. It's okay, he's okay, I will go and meet him, but I'm not excited about it. I don't feel anything, maybe even any chemistry at all. But if you set things up and he acts in a particular way and treats you in the right way, and there is some kind of humor, intelligence, spark, whatever it is about that man, and you follow along and you let yourself feel, if you start to see him, and again, if you have sex with him, you will start to bond. So let's set it up for the possibility of that from the outset. This is my premise for all, because when we do it that way, we have the chance of getting, as women, what we desire and deserve. So let's get to number 2, where you don't go. Second worst place to go: on a walk, the park, meeting someplace outside. Again, the power of environment, place, prompting. If a warm cup of coffee can do that, why do you think that romantic places are in particular settings? It's a given. The power of environment and place is just a given, and we must follow that. So don't meet him out in a park. First and foremost, it sends the wrong message to him completely, and it is not truly safe in most parks. You may think, well, it's out in public. I say it's a big no. I'm going to get to the third worst place and then where you go instead. Number 3, and this is mind-blowing: dinner. Do not go on a first meeting from online with any man for dinner. And in my One Love course, I tell you how you, in a lovely, sweet way, decline dinner and guide him to where you need to go on a first meeting to set yourself up for success. And I'm going to give you that. Why not dinner? You're thinking, well, that's a first date. It is. And here's where the rubber meets the road. The distinction between you making it a first meeting and him feeling it's a first date. You see, when you agree to go to dinner with a man whom you haven't met, psychologically, you are doing yourself and him and the possibility of a relationship coming from this a disservice. You are showing a man that I haven't met you, but I'm willing to go and spend a good 2 hours with you. That does not set him up to want to pursue your time, attention, and affection. It also is uncomfortable for both of you, and particularly for the man, because dinner is sitting across from a man, most typically. And what that does is it makes you have eye contact. And for males, that kind of eye contact is not very comfortable. Now, if he's an outright player or kind of a jerk, he'll seem very comfortable with it. He will gaze into your eyes and want you to feel the chemistry. And he's going to try very hard, because also he's buying dinner, to what? Have a short-term sexual encounter with you. Dinner does not set you up for a good first meeting, for more to happen down the road should you want it. If you've met organically and you've had some other kind of interaction and he asks you out, that's different, and dinner can be fine because he's decided he wants to pursue you and have that date. You wonder why a man from online would then ask you for dinner for the first meeting if it's not good. Well, again, he doesn't know anything. He's a guy and he thinks, I'll take her to dinner and I don't care about whatever it costs for the dinner. I have the possibility for a short-term sexual encounter. Regardless, because you are the woman, the pretty puppy to him, if you know my book, and he will just want you for whatever is right in front of him, right on top of time like he is. Now, you may think that sounds odd, but you are not setting yourself up for him wanting more. And you may not want more after your first meeting. Great. You're the decision maker here. But if you do, You want him to be in that best possible position to want more. And the place you go for that first meeting from online is one place. And that is, it's in my course. I have a lot more, but I want to give this to you here. And that is, you go for happy hour. It sets you up for the best possible success. Now you may say, oh, I don't drink, that's not comfortable. I understand that. And you don't have to drink. I don't recommend that you do. I mean, if you're comfortable having a glass of wine and you can handle that and handle yourself and still do what's necessary to guide the man, okay. Anymore? Absolutely not, because you're showing the wrong thing and it may loosen you up to a degree where you're not as in control. I have all the ways in my course and through working with me on how you handle all of these pushbacks and things that you feel, oh, I wouldn't do that, I can't do that, how am I gonna get him to that if he asks me for dinner or if he asks me for coffee? All of those rebuttals, I can tell you exactly what you say and how you say it. It's in the One Love self-help course. Because dating online is the Wild West. Men don't know what to do because there's been no history. It's only been around for the last 15 to 20 years. That's a blip on the screen in terms of what men know how to do. And every different woman that he's met online wants something else. And it's a free-for-all when you guide him. And he knows what you want in a lovely, non-directive way. This is what's so beautiful about it. He doesn't feel like you're directing or guiding. And I have exactly how you say, how you text, what you text in the course. So I hope you will check that out, knowing that the 3 worst places to meet him on a first meeting are coffee, walk or hike, outside anywhere, and dinner. Check out my One Love self-help course. In it, you will find out how you guide it to happy hour, exactly what you say, exactly what you text, how you get to a phone call so he introduces himself and you make this just flow off of your tongue. Oh, thank you so much for asking for dinner. That's so sweet of you. But I'd be great for just happy hour for first meeting on Tuesday night after work. That simple and lovely. He will be happy. You are showing him, I'm of high value. I don't give my time and attention to a man I've not met. You see, there's a lot of psychological stuff at play here that you need to know. If you haven't been succeeding in online dating, this could be why. It's just very small little tweaks that we make that have huge effects. It's the little thing that tips you over from not success to success. And I want to give every woman that. It's my honor to give every woman that because you deserve to have success online, and there is no reason at all that you cannot. It's where people are going now, meeting and mating. So check it out. One Love, online to never-ending love. 7 simple steps to digital dating success. You can have this. Start by knowing that if you have been going to these places for a first meeting and you haven't gotten to a second date, or you even have gotten to a second date, which is really your first date, because it's not really a date until you two have met each other and then he asks you out after having met you. Okay? So check it out. You will have success if you understand that there may just be something very small that you are doing that is hurting you. And I know if you're a woman here, it is something small. Let's get to it. Let's fix it. Check it out. I'll have a link below. And I know you can succeed if you understand these principles that we talk about here. I'll have other videos for you to watch. Keep succeeding by learning, leveling up, and listening into the podcast, my videos here, and I will see you next time.